Is it safe for me to travel? That is a common question that we're getting from many of our clients, so I'm going to answer that today. The answer to the question, however, doesn't depend on your immigration status. First of all, the most important thing to understand is unless you are a United States citizen, you are not guaranteed to be able to enter or remain in the United States. Only U.S. citizens are guaranteed entry. So if you are a visa holder, a parolee, you have permanent residence, you have advanced parole, you have some other way to get into the United States that's authorized, that entry is always going to be at the discretion of the U.S. government. Unless you are a U.S. citizen, you don't have the right to enter into the United States. However, the considerations for whether you will have trouble entering the United States or not do depend on the immigration category that you have if you're not a U.S. citizen. So right now, we're going to deal with individuals who are green card holders, permanent residents of the United States. So what I always tell my clients is permanent residency is something of a misnomer. There is no such thing as permanent residency. The government can take it away from you, so it's not permanent in that you have it forever. It can be taken from you. Every time an individual travels into the United States, whether they are a visa holder or visa waiver program permanent resident, they are coming to the United States, and when they get to the port of entry, which can be the airport or the land crossing, you are requesting permission to be admitted into the United States. That Customs and Border Protection agent has the ability to review your immigration history, your criminal history, and other factors and make a determination of whether or not you are authorized to come into the United States. For permanent residents, one of the main factors is whether or not you have maintained your permanent residency. So have you done anything while you were in the United States before you left, or while you were outside of the United States that has caused the government to say maybe you have abandoned your residency or you've done something to make you ineligible to remain a permanent resident. So that's going to be the first determination. The thing that I tell clients to think about is if you have a criminal history, or if you had done something that may be considered an immigration law violation, if you stayed out of the country for more than 6 months at a period of time, if you signed some documents, if you registered a vote or voted, or you've done some of those types of things, you may need to resolve those issues before you travel outside the United States. If you don't, those issues can be reasons to keep you from being eligible to come back into the United States. The current administration is looking back at individuals who've had arrests. They're looking back at individuals who've had trouble with their immigration status before and determining whether that person should be allowed to return to the United States due to the maintenance of their status, or whether they've done something that in the past has caused them to lose their status. The best advice is if you are a U.S. permanent resident and you want to be sure you're going to be able to enter the United States again, you should pursue your citizenship through naturalization. Once you get your citizenship through naturalization, then you're guaranteed to enter or remain in the United States. During the process of naturalization, your immigration attorney can look through your immigration history, they can order your records, they can look at your criminal history, they can look at all of these factors and determine whether or not you are going to be eligible for naturalization if you've done things that are going to make you deportable or inadmissible to the United States, and can give you some advice, and hopefully you'll be able to get all of those things addressed and you can transition into citizenship and avoid any questions about whether or not you can return to the United States once you've departed. If you're not eligible for naturalization because you've not been a permanent resident for a sufficient period of time, the next best thing to do is to talk to an immigration attorney to make sure that they can look through your background and discuss your background with you and tell you whether or not there's anything there that's going to cause the government to reconsider admitting you into the United States. One of the important determinations that has to be made is whether you're admissible to the United States, because whether you are deportable, which means being removable from the United States, which means while you're inside the government can remove you, and whether you're admissible, when you're outside can you come in, sometimes those factors are different. Many of those factors overlap, but sometimes the things that will keep you from being admitted into the United States don't necessarily cause you to be deportable. So while you're here, you can stay. However, once you leave, the government can decide not to let you back in. These matters are complex, they're technical, they do require some legal analysis process of evaluation. If you need help determining whether or not, as a resident, you can come back into the United States or whether you're eligible for naturalization, contact my team at the Gaston Law Firm. You can reach us at 772-219-0101, or you can find us on the web at www.gastonlawfirm.com. At the Gaston Law Firm, we are building American futures.